Hi, today I want to talk about the fact that I cannot read this news article in a Korean newspaper. Now, the reason that I can't read it is because I don't have sufficient vocabulary to be able to understand all of the words. I do know what the alphabet is, the Hangul, and I can pronounce it when I read it out, although it's sort of like a child in school. But I don't know the meaning behind the vast majority of these words. And the problem there is I don't know the vocabulary, and I need to build up my vocabulary. And so today I thought I'd go through one of the things I've been experimenting with to try and increase my vocabulary. And the thing I'm going to do this is the reason I'm doing it is I've got a lot of books in Korean that I want to read, but I cannot read them yet. And I need to be able to build up my vocabulary in order to read. So what I'm going to do in the near future, or what I have been doing recently, is to get the words, get a translation of the word, and then memorize the word. And I do the memorization through all kinds of stuff, mnemonics, or just write them out by hand hundreds of times, but listen to them out loud. So one of the things I'm going to show you today is how to get the most frequent words in this wall of text in order to parse out the unique words and to just try and memorize those. And then I'm going to show you how you can use the OpenTTS to generate a WAV file, or convert to an MP3, but a WAV file that'll let you listen to each of these words so that you hear the pronunciation correctly as well. And so I have done a video on OpenTTS, which is text-to-speech, and it does support a lot of SSML commands, which I'll be using today, and I'll show you the ones I'm using. I'm doing Korean, so I'm using PapaGo to do the translation for me. But if you were this works for French or Italian or Russian or whatever you want. And the thing I use to work out the word frequencies is this program, which is free and open source, and it does corpus analysis. I believe I've done a video on this before, but I'll cover it all again. But you can go to Lawrence Anthony's homepage and you get links to this software. He does do other stuff, but this is the one I'm using mostly today. And then once I've done it, so this was yesterday, I think, I test myself. So I've got a Google Sheets thing that I've set up where I just test myself by pasting in the words that I'm trying to learn, and I'm trying to do 30 a day. Then I hide this column so that I only have the hint, and then I come back and I try and type in the actual words, and where I get it correct, it goes green and totals it up for me. So that's how that works. But let's just show you how you can do it. Now, if you wanted to do this for French or Italian or whatever, you could go to Project Gutenberg, and you can search there for your language. But if I pick Korean, you will see that all I get is a dictionary, which is no good to me whatsoever. But if you were doing this for, I don't know, French or one of the big languages, you know, it returns millions. So you can get a lot of free text here, or if you can get hold of newspapers like I'm going to show you today. So I've got this wall of text, and what I'm going to do is basically select it, and because it's got these advertisements in the middle, I'm going to have to skip those a bit. but if I go here to my notepad, I will just paste in this text and go back and get some more. And the spaces don't really matter because the program effectively just ignores that anyway, so you don't need to worry about that. I am going to get all of this because I am going to use this later, so I'm going to make sure to do it properly, so I won't skip ahead. You're going to have to watch it. There's the end, and so there's my block of words that I want. So I save that, and what I've done here, just to show you, I've given it a name, and then I've linked the URL to the name in this spreadsheet. So I just keep a record of all of these things that I'm using, and later I can click on this, go back and see how much of this I can read based on what I've learned. Alright, so this is the wall of text. We can close that, and then I'll go into the AntConc. Anyway, it's basically the corpus, and I want to pick the file as my corpus file. And so what I do is I go to my desktop and I find the one that I want. I open that up. It creates a corpus for me. Now what I want to do is I want to go to words, because I want to know the frequency, and I want the frequency, and then I start, and it basically comes out and it shows you the frequency of the word, and it ranks them. So this particular word showed up 14 times, this word 13, and then it goes down, as you can see. Now it's a law of diminishing returns, because what happens is you get words that are unique, and in Korean it's slightly it does add subject markers and things, so you may have to do some tidying up here, but for my purposes it's what I need. Right now I don't want just 100, I want all of them, so I'm going to do 5,000, and I'll let it spit that out again, so you can see that it's got a lot more words, but this time it's 388, so it's found 388 effectively unique words. So I can save the current results to a new file, and I'll just call it word results, and I'll actually make this same as the text file. So it saved the results, and that's all I need from this program. So we can shut that down, and then I can open word results here, and you can see it's effectively put this in a database. Now if I rename this as a CSV file, then I can open this up in a spreadsheet. Now, I don't want the frequency and all that other stuff, really. What I actually want is just the comma tab. Yeah, that's what I want. So you can see here it's a tab separated files, but I've put commas in as well, and it picked out the correct thing. So we can open that up now. And I don't need any of this other gubbins here. So in fact, I can just delete all of that. But what I want is this column. So if I just copy that, I can actually go to Google Sheets. Right now, if I create a new tab here in Google Sheets, I'll show you how to do this. I can paste this column, which is just Control C. And here I can do equals, well, maybe if I can type, equals, not that one, oh, there we go, okay. So what we want here is Google Translate. And I want to translate this column, and then you have to put this in quotes. I want to take it from Korean, I can't remember if it's KO or KO, but anyway, it's Korean to English. Yes, and then it does this for me. So if I click here and then double click, it will fill all of that down below for me. And that's going to take a while, and I probably shouldn't have done that. Probably should have just done the first few. But anyway, you get the idea. Okay, so I can now take the first 30 of these. And I can put them into my daily test. And you can see that I've now got 0 out, so you can see that it correctly calculated that. But anyway, these are the 30 that I'm going to learn today, right? Now, in fact, I already know this one, so I could have got rid of it. And this needs to go because it's not been tidied up. So when you do this, you will have to do some tidying up of this, especially if it's got HTML or other stuff in there, or other sort of stray English words that have happened to pop in. So in this example, I'll just delete this row. But anyway, after you've done your sort of tidying up, I'll just steal another one since I'm here. Right. Now, once I've got this, I have got what I need to learn for the day, which is great, but now I also want to be able to listen to it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to copy these words, and I'll just drop back into my text editor. And in my text editor, I'm going to stick in the words. But I've got here a template for what I need for the OpenTTS. Now the first thing I need is a speak and end speak tags. So I'll just copy the whole thing, paste that up the top, and then I can close this. I don't need it anymore. So this will go at the bottom. And this is near the top. Now, what has to happen here is this tag goes after this one. Because what's happening here is I'm opening the speech, it takes a small break, then I close the speech, and then the next thing I want is for this to be put here. So what I can do, rather than do all of that, is if I just undo all of that, what I can do is I can put the tags in the way that I want them simply by doing a search and replace. Now I've covered search and replace before in a text editor, and I'll put a link to that video up. But basically what I want is a regular expression. I want to find the beginning of the sentence, and this is the beginning of the sentence, and what I want to do at the beginning is I want to put that in before each of these words. I actually want this one line, so I'll do it like that. And come over here and I replace that. And I should, in theory, do replace all and it'll work. Yeah. Okay, now I don't want that there, and I don't want it here, but everywhere else is more or less fine, except for empty lines. So I've now got everything with the correct statement, except this one I've duplicated. Right, but anyway, so basically what I want is between the speech and in speech tag, I want every line to have this bit before it starts. And I've stupidly closed the other one, so let's open this template back up. I want this close in there as well. Now the only difference, as you can see, is that there's an end tag. So if we go back here and we go to our search and replace, what I want to do here is I want a dollar, which is the end of the line, and at the end of each line I want to put this with a closing slash. Now this basically will put a 1 second stop in front and then a 1 second stop at the end. What I don't need is that. So what's going to happen here is it's telling OpenTTS start the speech. This is a sentence. Break before the sentence for 1 second. This is going to put, I'll just go ahead and do that. And so what this tells it is to close off the sentence and start a new one, which is here. And that sentence breaks for 1 second and then goes on. So what you can see happening here is that for each one there's a break. Now at the end, at the very last statement, you see that that's empty. But I do want that. But I just want a 1 second pause at the end. So this is my OpenTTS SML. So if I copy that now and we go here to my OpenTTS, I can open that. And this is what we've pasted in. I'm using the Korean speech, high quality, and I'm using SSML. So I can click this button. Oop. And as you can see, if you got an error, it'll tell you. Right, so once you've got a correctly formatted and formed thing, you can generate this file which will hold your words. Now I'm just going to save the audio, and I'll put in a link in a minute to what I'm doing, and I'll just save it under the same as the file name that I've saved everything else under, and I'll let you listen to that in a minute. But if you need to know the SSML tags, there is a list here, and there's an example in the OpenTTS. I do have a video on how to install OpenTTS. If you're going to use it, I definitely recommend watching that and looking at the tags. If you're going to edit the text, it's useful to know how to do regular expression replacement in the text files. But basically, this is how I've generated this. And then at the end of each day, once I've done what I need to do to try and memorize all this, I hide this column, and then I go in here and I type in the Hangul, which I don't know at the moment, so type any old thing and it comes out red. But you can see that, well, this is how I'm doing it. Now I can leave a link to this test spreadsheet if you're interested, and I'll leave a link to Lawrence Anthony's website, and I'll put a link into the OpenTTS, well actually the OpenTTS where you download OpenTTS in the link. But basically that is what I'm doing to generate a list of words to test myself on each day. It's relatively simple, but what I should be able to do is, after a couple days of studying all of those words, and remember that the vast majority of the words let's just undo all of that. If you remember you know, this word is the most frequent, so when I know that one, I'm going to get most of the frequent words. But if I count this up, if I there's 553 unique words, right? But if you do the first 30, you can see that you've done 147 of those, right? Which means you know 27% of the words just by learning the first 30. You know, 27% of the words you're going to encounter you already know because you learned the first 30 of them, right? So you can learn a load more, and in fact what I do or plan to do is learn up to the point where it turns to a 1, where there's only one of those, you know, that each of those words is unique. And I'll just try and look those up as I go. But here we got 223. So if I learn that, I've learned 41% of the words in that article before I've even started. And the rest are all unique words that, you know, obviously you do need to learn them, but you can look them up when you run across them. So there you go. That's how I do it. If you like these sort of videos and you want to, you know, help me out, please like the video, since more people will then be shown the videos. And please subscribe. And I just want to say thank you very much for viewing. I really hope this helps you out. This is what I plan to do for the next few months. So hopefully my vocabulary will be sufficient to read a newspaper article. All right, thanks a lot. See you soon. Bye.